the Greek god Poseidon emerges from a river in his human form and goes to meet his brother Zeus. His brother Zeus tells him to look toward the sky, where dark, dense storm clouds have spread everywhere. But there is not a single trace of lightning anywhere, because the Master Bolt has been stolen. Hearing this, Poseidon is shocked and clearly denies that he has anything to do with it. He reminds Zeus that there is a rule among the gods that they cannot steal each other's powers. But Zeus still accuses him, saying that Poseidon's son is responsible for this act. Poseidon firmly says that he has not seen that boy since he was a small child. Even so, Zeus warns him that if the Master Bolt is not returned by midnight on the summer solstice, he will declare war. The next day, a boy named Percy comes out of a swimming pool after staying underwater for a full 7 minutes. His friend Grover praises him and asks how he manages to do that. Percy admits that he himself doesn't know. He says that water is the only place where he can think clearly. After this, they head toward their English class. There, a new teacher named Mrs. Dodds has arrived. She writes a quote on the board and asks the students to explain its meaning. Percy does not raise his hand, yet she still chooses him. Percy has dyslexia and has difficulty reading words. He simply says that he doesn't know. After school, Percy goes home, where his mother Sally lives with her husband Gabe. Percy complains that his dyslexia is getting worse than before. He says that he thought this school would make his condition better. Sally comforts him, but the worry is clearly visible on her face. Suddenly, Gabe starts shouting and demands a beer, and Sally silently goes to give it to him. Percy hates how his mother keeps tolerating Gabe's drunken and filthy behavior. When Percy talks back to him, Gabe warns him to speak with respect. Percy falls silent, but deep inside, he feels nothing but hatred. The next day, Percy's class goes on a trip to a Greek museum. Just before entering, Percy hears a voice telling him to get ready, because everything is about to change. He sees a man who looks exactly like Poseidon, but suddenly the man disappears, and Percy thinks it might just be his imagination. Inside the museum, Mr. Brunner is teaching about Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, about how the 3 brothers defeated their father and then ruled the world. He explains how the gods once lived among humans and had children with them, who were called demigods. Percy's attention drifts, but suddenly he gives the correct answer. At that moment, he notices that the ancient Greek words written on the walls are changing into English. One name affects him deeply, Perseus. Brunner agrees that Percy is right. Just then, Mrs. Dodds insists that she wants to speak to Percy alone. She takes him into a deserted hall. Suddenly, she disappears and then reappears from above, demanding the stolen Master Bolt from him. Percy becomes extremely frightened and says that he knows nothing about any of this. Before he can understand what is happening, Dodds transforms into a monster and attacks him. Just as Percy is about to die, Brunner and Grover come running and shout at the creature, calling it a fury. Brunner warns that if it doesn't leave, he will tear it apart. The monster escapes through a window, and Percy is completely terrified. Percy overhears Brunner saying that he should have realized earlier that they would come looking for him. Percy is deeply confused. He says that he hasn't stolen anything, and Brunner believes him. Brunner orders Grover to take Percy to a camp to keep him safe before more monsters arrive. Brunner gives Percy a pen and says that it is a very powerful weapon and that he should use it in times of danger. Percy doesn't trust him, but Brunner ignores his doubts and tells Grover to warn Sally and keep Percy safe. After leaving the museum, Percy asks Grover what is really going on and why Brunner considers him so important. Grover admits that they have been keeping an eye on Percy for many years. Percy doubts this because Grover walks with crutches. Grover tells him not to judge by appearances. When they reach home, Grover tells Sally that they must leave immediately. But Gabe blocks their way and demands that Sally serve the guests. Percy insults him and is about to attack him, but Grover knocks Gabe down using his crutches. As they run away, Percy swears that he did not steal the Master Bolt. Sally says that she completely trusts him and explains that the camp is meant for special children like him. Percy thinks all of this is madness, but Sally tells him that he is special, and that it is because of his father. Percy does not want to hear anything about the man who abandoned him, but Sally says that his father never wanted to leave him. Before Percy can ask any more questions, a Minotaur attacks their car. They somehow avoid a fatal accident, and Percy sees Grover reveal his true form. He is actually a satyr. They reach the gates of the camp, but Sally cannot enter. She tells Percy that this is because she is not like him. Suddenly, the Minotaur grabs her and squeezes her so hard that she disappears. Filled with rage and pain, Percy remembers the pen Brunner gave him. As soon as he removes the cap, it turns into a sword. He fights the demon, but the sword slips from his hand. In the end, summoning all his strength, Percy strikes and kills the Minotaur, then collapses unconscious beside Grover. Later, he regains consciousness inside the camp. Grover tells him that what happened last night was not a dream. His mother is gone. Percy is completely shattered. Grover blames himself for everything and says that he was only a junior protector whose horns hadn't even grown yet. Percy comforts him and says that it wasn't his fault. Outside, Grover shows Percy around the camp and finally reveals the truth, that Percy is a demigod. His dyslexia exists because his brain is wired for ancient Greek, and he is fast and fearless in battle. That is why he was able to defeat the Minotaur. Percy, who had always thought of himself as strange, is completely stunned by this revelation. At the training ground, Percy sees a girl fighting with incredible skill. Grover tells him that her name is Annabeth. She is the daughter of Athena and one of the best warriors in the camp. Grover introduces Percy to the centaurs, and one of them is Mr. Brunner himself. Percy is shocked to see his teacher as half-horse. Brunner apologizes for hiding his true identity. Then he shows Percy a special cabin that was built by his father. Inside, Percy sees a trident and realizes that his father is Poseidon. Brunner confirms this and explains that children of major gods like Zeus, Poseidon, or Hades are extremely rare. Because of this, Percy has now become a threat in the eyes of his father's brothers. Brunner also reveals the truth about Gabe, that his terrible smell actually helped hide Percy from monsters, which is why Sally tolerated him for so many years. Percy is heartbroken to learn how big a sacrifice his mother made for his safety, and yet he still couldn't save her. Percy asks why he is in this camp. Brunner tells him that it is now his responsibility to return Zeus's Master Bolt and stop a war that could destroy the entire Earth. Percy says that it's not his problem, but Brunner replies that only Percy can prove his innocence. However, for that, he must first train because monsters will definitely come after him now. At the training ground, Brunner introduces Percy to the other campers. Luke, the son of Hermes, warmly welcomes him and includes him in his team. Brunner then announces the game capture the flag. Annabeth, the leader of the opposing team, hides their flag, while Percy stays with Luke. During the game, Luke fights the enemy players and sends Percy to find the flag. In the forest, Percy finds the flag without any guards. But then Annabeth ambushes him and says that she has always won. She launches a powerful attack, injures Percy's hand, and easily brings him under her control in front of everyone. Grover begs Brunner to stop the fight, but Brunner refuses. After being badly beaten, Percy suddenly hears Poseidon's voice telling him to go toward the water. The moment he steps into the water, his wounds heal and his strength returns. Filled with new energy, Percy defeats Annabeth's soldiers and disarms Annabeth herself. He takes her sword, but instead of killing her, he tears the flag and leads his team to victory. Everyone in the camp cheers loudly because what they just witnessed leaves them completely stunned. That night, while the campers are celebrating their victory, Annabeth teasingly asks Percy if he feels like a hero. Percy denies it, but she jokes that his ego might grow very big soon. Percy feels that she might not like him. Annabeth replies that she hasn't decided yet. Suddenly, Hades appears in the middle of the campfire. He demands Percy, and when no one responds, he starts burning the ground. He threatens that if Percy wants to see his mother again, he must return the Master Bolt. A shocked Percy confronts him. Hades explains that Sally is not dead but has been captured, and he shows Percy a glimpse of her. He promises that if Percy brings him the bolt, he will free his mother. After Hades disappears, Percy insists that he must leave immediately. Brunner warns that no deal can be made because Percy did not steal the bolt. But Percy cannot abandon his mother. That very night, Percy tries to sneak out quietly, but Grover catches him and says that he will go with him as his protector. Just then, Annabeth also shows up and insists that she will go with them as well. Even though Percy doesn't want to, he has no choice but to take them along. They do not know how to reach Hades. Annabeth then suggests that they ask Luke, because Hermes travels in and out of the underworld. Luke admits that he has never met his father and calls the gods very selfish, but he tells them that once he found magical flying shoes and a map in Hermes' house. The map mentioned 3 pearls that belonged to Hades' wife, Persephone. These pearls help one escape from the underworld. He explains that by stepping on a pearl, one must imagine the place they want to go. Before leaving, Luke gives Percy a shield as a gift. Their first destination is a very abandoned restaurant filled with stone statues. Annabeth notices a fountain of golden drachmas there and gives Percy a few coins. They split up to search for the first pearl. A mysterious woman asks Annabeth for help and pulls her away. At the same time, Grover sees a statue of his dead uncle that looks extremely real. That's when he realizes the truth, that this is Medusa's lair. Terrified, he warns Percy and runs to find Annabeth. As Annabeth and the old woman try to leave the restaurant, they come face to face with Medusa. Medusa welcomes Athena's daughter and says that she has been feeling very lonely living among these statues. When Annabeth asks how she knows who she is, Medusa says that she can feel her presence. She compliments Annabeth's hair and remembers the beauty she once had before Athena's curse. As she removes her scarf, snakes appear in place of her hair. She then removes her glasses and urges them to look at her. Annabeth immediately closes her eyes and tells the old woman to do the same, because Medusa's gaze turns people into stone. But the old woman gets tired and opens her eyes for a moment, and instantly turns into a stone statue while holding Annabeth's hand. Medusa pressures Annabeth to open her eyes. Just then, Grover and Percy arrive. They know they cannot look at her directly, so Percy suggests using the reflection in the metal cover of his phone. Medusa senses the presence of another demigod nearby and realizes that Percy is Poseidon's son. Enraged, she begins knocking down statues, one of which traps Percy. She grabs him and threatens to force his eyes open using her snakes. At the last moment, Annabeth and Grover crash a truck into the lair and hit Medusa. Writhing in anger, Medusa notices Percy's phone lying on the ground and sees her own shadow reflected in it. Percy takes advantage of this moment, sneaks up behind her, and cuts off her head. After that, he tells everyone that they can open their eyes now. Annabeth suggests keeping Medusa's head because its power still works even after death. Percy agrees and wraps it in Grover's sweater. Among Medusa's jewelry, Percy finds one of Persephone's pearls. They now have 1 pearl, and 2 are still remaining. After checking the map, they find out that the next pearl is in a museum in Nashville. On the way, they stop at a motel to rest. Percy immediately gets into the swimming pool, where Annabeth joins him. When Percy heals the injury on her hand, they talk about their parents. Annabeth admits that she has never met Athena. Percy asks in surprise why that is, and she explains that Zeus made a law forbidding gods from meeting their children, especially after Poseidon tried many times to meet Percy. Their conversation is interrupted when Grover calls them to watch TV. On the television, Gabe is accusing Percy of kidnapping his own mother. Now the 3 of them have become fugitives and quickly prepare to leave. At the Nashville Museum, they see that the pearl is embedded in the crown placed on Athena's statue's head. Since visitors are still present in the museum, they decide to wait until the cleaning staff arrives. Annabeth knocks the security guards unconscious so they don't interfere. Percy wonders how he will reach the top of Athena's statue. Then he remembers the flying shoes, and with Luke's help, Percy flies up and retrieves the pearl. But before they can leave, the cleaning staff returns, now possessed by another force, and they demand the Master Bolt. When Percy says he doesn't have it, they transform into a hydra and start breathing fire. Percy cuts off its head, but every severed head grows back even more. Annabeth keeps it distracted, while Percy summons water from the restroom and pushes it back. He grabs the pearl and escapes. After that, Grover uses Medusa's head and turns the hydra into stone. Later, they see in the news that storm clouds are spreading all over the world. This is proof that the gods are preparing for war. The next clue leads them to the Lotus Casino in Las Vegas. Inside, they are served lotus flowers which put them into a strange trance. Days pass by as they lose themselves in games and luxury, until Percy hears Poseidon's voice telling him to focus. Percy realizes that the flowers are a trap. He regains consciousness and pulls Annabeth and Grover back to reality. When the casino staff sees that the kids are no longer under control, they attack. The 3 of them fight, obtain the final pearl, and escape in a car. Outside, they check the date and realize it is June 20th. 5 days have disappeared, and Zeus's deadline ends tomorrow at midnight. The map leads them to Hollywood, where the entrance to the underworld is hidden. A ferryman refuses to take them because they are alive, but Percy convinces him by giving him Medusa's golden drachmas. Inside Hades's palace, as Percy hugs his mother, the shield suddenly opens, revealing the Master Bolt hidden inside it. Hades grabs it and calls Percy a liar. Percy protests and says that the shield is not his. Annabeth then realizes that Luke set them up. Hades doesn't care and orders Persephone to release his dogs. Instead, Persephone attacks Hades, steals the bolt from him, and stops the monsters. She says that she doesn't want to remain trapped forever in a war-torn underworld. Handing the lightning bolt to Percy, she tells him to deliver it to Zeus before midnight. With the 3 pearls, Grover decides to stay behind with Persephone, while Percy, Sally, and Annabeth leave the underworld. They reach a very tall building where the gate to Olympus is located. As they are about to enter, Luke blocks their path. Percy asks him why he did this. Luke says that he wants to destroy Olympus so that a new generation can rebuild the world in place of the gods. When Percy says that he is not a hero, Luke attacks him, steals the bolt, and escapes Annabeth's counterattacks using his flying shoes. Percy puts on his own flying shoes and chases Luke over the city. The 2 clash on the rooftop of another building. Luke mocks Percy, calling him weak and unworthy of being Poseidon's son. Before Luke can kill him, Percy summons water from nearby tanks and slams Luke onto the rooftop with a powerful attack. Percy retrieves the Master Bolt and reunites with Annabeth and Sally. Together, they enter Olympus. Sally cannot go further, so Percy and Annabeth go inside. Inside, Zeus is leading an assembly and is about to declare war against Poseidon. Just as the clock strikes midnight, Percy and Annabeth step forward and present the Master Bolt before everyone. Shocked, Zeus listens to Percy as he explains that the real thief was Luke. Feeling great relief, Zeus praises Percy highly and stops the war. At Percy's request, he also agrees to free Grover from the underworld. After this, Poseidon approaches Percy and apologizes for not being there for him. He explains that Zeus forced him to stay away because he feared relationships between gods and humans. Poseidon admits that he has always guided his son from a distance and promises that whenever Percy needs him, he will be there. Father and son shake hands. Percy then returns to the camp with Sally. At the camp gate, Sally tells Percy that she is happy he has found his true place. Percy smiles, feeling glad that his mother is now free from Gabe, and promises that he will visit often. Back at camp, Grover proudly shows off his new horns. Brunner scolds Percy for sneaking out but also calls him his favorite student and reminds him to always trust his abilities. As training begins again, Percy stands beside Annabeth, fully prepared for the dangers ahead, and with this, the story comes to an end. So if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, and let us know in the comments how you liked the video.